At the start of the video, we're going to show you some of the tools you need. You're going to have your slings right here. This is a tool that we create, that we use, that will actually grab the sling and be able to pull the sling taut without damaging it. Going to need a pair of diagonal cutters to cut the cord, a 7/16 wrench, a 7/16 socket, or a 7/16 nut drive, and either an impact or a drill. A mallet to pound in the glides, plain ivory soap to lubricate the bolts and the nuts so they don't stick together, a bar clamp to compress the headrest in, 2 times 2, to compress the headrest so we can pull the sling out and put a new sling in. And then we also have a spreader bar tool, a spreader tool that we create in-house that is available, that speeds this process up very quickly. But if you don't want to use this, you can also use these. Make sure when you purchase these that they're the 24-inch and they come apart so that you can turn it this way to make your own spreader tool. First, we're going to take the headrest off, and that is connected by 2 bolts. And you're going to take the headrest off. Alright, first we're going to take off the glides, which are the end caps here. We're just going to move those back and forth until they pop off. Try not to damage them so we can reuse them. And then take it to the other side. And then going to take our clamps. You're going to need 2 clamps for this because the machine that we have does the whole thing at one time. So you need pressure on the top and the bottom. Then you're just going to pull it straight out the top. Don't take these off because when you put the new headrest in, you're going to need to do that. So when you do that, you're going to take your new headrest and you're going to trim the bottom tabs or the bottom cording because you still have your glides in the bottom of it. So you're just going to take it, pop those off. They should come with a tag that always goes to the top. It's not necessary, but that's the way we do it. So you might need to tighten it a couple times just to get it past there, but it should be fine and it should just come straight down. Just get it all the way in there, like so. And then you're going to release. There you go. And with this spreader tool, you're going to take it and you're going to pull it up. So after you've gotten it in, you're going to come up, trim the top of the cording that's poking out, try to get it as flush as possible with the sling. Then we're going to go put our caps back on. Go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take off the body, and that will require the 7/16 wrench always on the outside, and the impact wrench with the 7/16 socket and the adapter. So you're going to pull all the bolts out. The sling will just slide straight out very simply. Just come straight out. We're going to get the bolts pulled out and get this sling put back in rails, and then I'm going to show you a very important step. So we're going to feed each side, doesn't matter what side's up or down, but each side in there and just let it drop in there. And there, now you've got that pre-slung. So now that important step I was talking about is taking the ivory soap and your bolts and just running some soap inside the threads. And what's that's going to do is it's going to stop these nuts from locking up on them and snapping your bolt. Not saying this won't stop it completely, but if you do not do this, I pretty much guarantee it will probably either seize or snap your bolt. So now we're going to put the body on. And an important footnote is on the foot end of your chase to make sure you have these glides already in. If you do not, you're not going to be able to get them in later because it almost butts up next to that foot of the chase. So we come through and we've set the bolts up, and he's going to go ahead and feed the bolts through the holes in the sling rail. And he is going to start the nuts on there. I'll flip it over. It's easier if you flip it over, so you can see what you're doing. Now he's going to put the bolts on the other side, and you know, there's a little trick. Sometimes it goes very easily, sometimes it's a little difficult. But notice he's just started on the other side, he's just started the nuts on the bolts just to hold that in. He has not tightened them in any way, and this is where you're going to start needing a little bit of pressure. See? So what he's doing is he's just driving the bolt through and getting enough in there to grab onto it. See? Now these are two types of spreader tools. This is a tool that we make in-house, very functional, very fast. This is a tool that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or any other hardware store. Now I would suggest that you buy the 600-pound, not the 300, because you can see here the 300 is bending a little bit. But this is not what we normally use, but this is another option. Now this one is what we use, and the way this is used is you just pop it in and just push. Pop the bolt through, and this can be done by one person. Or this one, you know, you turn it around, it's a reversible, and you just pump it. It's a little bit more elbow grease to get it where you need it, and you need, like I said, a 600-pound, not a 300. So we're going to put that on and start the nut. Now, this is not the only time you're going to need this. As you're putting this together, you're going to need a spreader bar tool to help you put these bolts in. They are going to, if you just try to pull these with just the nut to the bolt, you are going to snap the bolt. You need pressure to push this up against the sides, and then once they're set, they're not going to break. This will show you what the what you're doing is you're just helping this along. You're not putting so much stress on the frame. Or the hardware. And he's going to go ahead and do that by himself. And like I said, he can do this by himself also. It's a little bit easier with the guy helping you. But you kind of want to get it as close to that bolt as you can. And you're just going to work your way down. Now we're going to put the end caps back on. You can do this before you even put it on, but in case you need to adjust the sling, you can do it like this. We're going to put the bolt spacer. If I can find the hole, put another bolt in. And don't put that one all the way in. Just kind of leave it hanging like that. Grab your head. Through. Put the nut on. Feed the other through. Tighten the bolts, and you're good to go. You have completed a 1003 SL bolt through. Re-Sling.